Lovely Saturday morning. Much obliged to have you join us on the program Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. And I'm Sonny Duke Okosun. In today's program, our focus will be on the rising insecurity in Nigeria and the calls for community empowerment, community army, community mobilization to tame this monster that has bedeviled this country for such a long time without any help, any hope, any solution in sight. Apart from some of the rhetorics that we see around conferences, workshops, and all of that. Let's just give you a head start with some of the stories that are making headlines across the country. The death toll in the herdsmen attack on Ukum and Logo local government areas of Benue State has risen to 20 as security forces and residents comb the affected communities in search of survivors. Governor Hyacinth Alia, in a telephone conversation, gave details of the casualty figures. According to him, 5 corpses were recovered earlier in Gbagir and taken to the morgue, but later civilians searching for their loved ones discovered 2 more corpses. He said a family in Gbagir that insisted on burying their relative immediately had been provided cover letters by security forces to perform brief burial rites. However, he condemned the attacks and cautioned communities against resorting to self-help. Okay, let's move on to other stories. Edo State Governor Senator OKPEBHOLO said kidnappers caught in the state will face the death penalty, specifically by hanging, expressing readiness to sign the death warrants of convicts. Governor OKPEBHOLO disclosed this at the stakeholder session at Uromi Town Hall, where he had an interactive session with leaders and members of the Arewa community in Eseland. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the press secretary to the governor, Fred Itwa, on Friday. He noted that the Edo State House of Assembly has passed a bill amending the Kidnapping Prohibition Amendment Law and Related Matters 2013. Governor OKPEBHOLO said his administration will not tolerate insecurity, killings, and kidnapping anymore in the state. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has reassured Nigerians of his administration's resolve to restore peace and security, emphasizing that clear directives had been given to the armed forces and relevant security agencies to end insecurity decisively and without delay. Tinubu, who stated this on Friday in his Easter message to the nation, expressed empathy with citizens affected by violence and unrest, stating that he understood the pain and fear such events had caused. There has been a resurgence of terror attacks in the north, particularly Plateau and Benue State, and even in the Borno State. Gunmen reportedly killed at least 52 people and displaced nearly 2,000 others over several days of attacks in 6 villages in Plateau State. Still on security, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has backed President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers, saying he wanted the removal of Governor Siminalayi Fubara of the oil-rich state. In a move that has continued to divide opinions, Tinubu suspended Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, and members of the House of Assembly following months of political crisis in Rivers State. But Wike said the president's move saved Rivers from implosion, arguing that the decision to appoint a sole administrator following Fubara's suspension was a step in the right direction. The former Rivers State governor said this on Friday in Abuja during a media parley with select journalists. But there have been reactions and counter-reactions over the appointment of a sole administrator in Rivers State. The likes of Femi Falana described some of his actions as unconstitutional, particularly the removal of elected officials in that state and the appointment of maybe sole administrators in the local government areas. In the meantime, the Kogi State Police Command says it has launched an investigation into the alleged attack on the family house of Senator Natasha Akpoti Udwanga in Obieba, Ihima, Okehi local government area of Kogi State. Police say the investigation follows a report that the property was targeted by unidentified hoodlums in the early hours of Tuesday, April 16, 2025. According to the statement issued by the Command's Public Relations Officer, SP William Ovie Aya, the investigation follows a report that the property was targeted by unidentified hoodlums in the early hours of Tuesday, April 16, 2025.